Thank you, gentleman. He yields back. Now recognize Dr. Dunn for his 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to wave on to this important hearing. Oversight of the FDA's inspection function is a much-needed requirement for informed conversation and policy considerations related to nearshoring and friendshoring pharmaceutical manufacture. Our generic drug supply is particularly vulnerable to bad actors such as the Chinese Communist Party due to their worldwide dominance of the production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, API. The Select Committee on China, on which I sit, released an economic report at the end of last year which details the vulnerabilities of our generic drug supply chains as they relate to API production and malign actors. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter this report into the record.
And we'll put that on our list at the end of the hearing.
Thank you very much. The United States and the rest of the world is completely reliant on Chinese manufacturing to meet our generic drug needs due to their dominance in API. India, the second largest supplier of pharmaceuticals to the U.S., also sources 70% of its API from China. Unreliable inspection practices leave us vulnerable to the risk of tainted medications, and the lack of accountability to meet FDA standards demonstrates a weakness that bad actors are quick to take advantage of. API supply challenges were highlighted in a concerning report released by the Coalition for a Prosperous America regarding Aurobindo Pharmaceuticals, the #1 supplier for generic pharmaceutical prescriptions to the U.S. We'll enter that report into the record as well.
Likewise, we'll have to show it to our colleagues on the other side, but we'll add it to our list at the end of the hearing.
Thank you very much. Aurobindo Pharma has been plagued with corruption, quality control violations, sanctions by the EU, recalls in the U.S., the list goes on and on. The report found that this Indian company relies on several Chinese suppliers with ties to the PRC or with stakeholders there, or subsidiaries and business partners that have been sanctioned by the United States. Mr. Thacker, I commend the actions you took as a whistleblower to reveal the shortcomings of the FDA inspection program. You described your concern with the ability of the FDA to implement the GAO's recommendations for improving the inspection programs. Your recommendation to mirror a cooperative research and development agreement, a CRADA, like the Department of Defense is pursuing for independent drug quality, is very interesting to me, and I've had the opportunity to visit with an independent lab that they are working with. I agree that requiring independent validation of safety and efficacy of products sold in the U.S. should be considered. You mentioned requiring the purchaser, such as a PBM, to conduct such testing. It may be hard to implement that mandate. I don't know. How do you think Congress could otherwise incentivize bulk purchasers of generic drugs to implement end-user testing?
One of the outcomes that we're looking at, the DoD pilot program, is a scale, a red, green, blue kind of a thing that basically says the confidence in the quality of batch-to-batch variability among the products. If patients are empowered with that kind of information, I think that they will demand that. And I think the industry will then respond to it. I think that, you're absolutely right. You can't enforce, a private company to be able to do that kind of testing, but the confidence among the patient prescribers and the patients at the time of dispensing goes up. And they have the ability to say that, I have more confidence in our ability to this particular product that's made at a facility that's been inspected by the FDA over a period of time with good...
I agree with you, and I appreciate that. I certainly looked for that information when buying drugs for my clinic when I was in practice. Ms. Dennigan-McCauley, Aurobindo's non-compliance with the FDA's regulations are well documented. The company leads Indian manufacturers in recalls in this country. And the Coalition for Prosperous America report documents those close ties to the CCP. Does the FDA have any process in place to determine whether foreign drug manufacturers exporting products to the United States have ties to companies sanctioned by the U.S.?
So they certainly have some information. They have to get information about where the API may come from, but it's not definitively where it comes from. And so they don't have the complete information, and GAO has said that they need to either get the complete information. If they don't have those authorities, just talk to Congress and seek those authorities.
Well, we're running out of time, so I can't go into my other questions and examples. But, I think that this goes to the problem that we need to have testing, sampling and testing, and accurate insights, the quality of these medications. Mr. Chairman, thank you again.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back. First, Dr. Ruiz.